Hey guys, Thomas the Jr. here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the movie The Kill Room. If you end up enjoying this full movie review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my petition to help out smaller YouTubers. Second and third to help out my Patreon and PayPal, which will help me directly, and fourth to my Discord server where we could join, collab, and share your own content for free, and sharing will be reminded at the end of the review. With all that out of the way, let's get into The Kill Room. Now, I have not heard anything about this movie or seen any trailers for it, so mayhaps that's not good on behalf of the movie, but I did come across it nonetheless. This movie follows a art gallerist named Patricia, or I'll simply call her Patty for short. So, she is a struggling one that is in constant competition with her rivals in the art gallery world, and she, by happenstance, comes across Samuel L. Jackson's character, whose name is Gordon, as well as his co-worker slash kill boss partner, who they will eventually be referring to throughout the rest of the movie as simply the Bagman. So, after she sees that her own side of her world is falling apart and her business is falling to the wayside and she just can't quite keep up, she decides to entrust in this transaction before even realizing that the Bagman is indeed a killer of the killers. She just assumes that instead that he is indeed a drug dealer. So they persist on making a cut deal between an art piece made by this guy, the killer aka, and then splitting the profits when they sell said art piece between both parties. And initially this does seem to go fairly well, putting them on the map well enough to adjust and readjust and get some more equipment. However, her assistant insists on exposure bucks and begins to tell people, and this eventually gains the ire of the killer's competitors to begin to start to swift on in and see if they can take advantage of the situation. We have moments in the movie where the police, there's actually only one moment in the movie, I should correct that, where the police actually do begin to investigate the actual area in question, and they are we kind of just see them in the background, so it's almost suggested that they were told and actually bought into the whole it's just art thing by the assistant. So, now that they're in deep, however, with the killers, they get invited to a high-end killer's meal where they must be a part of the family, as it were. This does not bode well for her, but she insists that everything is going to work out. And he says that there's only one way officially out, and that's if they get the head of the specific guy that they are rivals with. So she puts that together with something the assistant said about their rival's assistant and how she was able to get these other corrupt people to buy art. So she does that, cozy up to her specifically to gather intel, as well as build up an art piece specifically with in the show, in hopes to lure out this guy specifically. This actually ends up being successful, and to make matters even more interesting is that when he does arrive, they use a camera on a laptop, and then they show this to the art audience, the art gallery audience, who now witness the Bagman in action as he does his thing, and they perceive it as art. And they are applauding and all that good stuff, and they do indeed take out their intended target. Which means they get out, but just to double down on getting out, she also says that she has dirt on the family that they can use, so that way that double ensures their permanent removal from any further dealings in this specific regard. He, the Bagman that being, is more considering keeping to this art style, but they seem to end in suggesting that they both sort of left wherever they were. I think this takes place in New York somewhere, I think. Or off the coast somewhere. Anyway, point being is that they're not sticking around to find out what's going on. And let me just look over to my right for And so they also, for the bodies that they killed, they permanently hid them by sending them off to, like, as an art gallery to, like, remain in storage, I guess is, like, how they put it, to, like, just, like, keep it somewhere. And yeah, that essentially excuse me, that essentially gets them off the hook, as well as allowing them to be free of that particular set of circumstances. So this movie was clearly interesting. It's sort of, in a way, mocking art in the whole art gallery system, more specificity, specifying that. And so this does come across as very tongue-in-cheek in that way of really getting apart, really gearing apart all the parts that deal with how art gallery people talk with one another, how formal and how off you want to come off when you're in that atmosphere. They really do mock pretty much essentially all of that, and that really does come into full view when they have the actual killer, and then they just, because they're in an art gallery space, they just assume that it's art. So yeah, this is definitely a really interesting movie in that regard. It definitely, in a movie format, I'm not sure if this has been done before, so this is quite a unique takedown of the art gallery space. And I'm pretty sure it will probably continue to thrive after the movie, but it is interesting to once again, in a more movie-centric fashion, see this sort of harsh takedown or criticism of this art gallery lifestyle and all of its high-end, mighty sort of ooh, look at me sort of attitude that sort of seems to breathe from that atmosphere. So I think this movie executed its job, at least, in that regard. Now, I'm not sure how well the movie did, but in terms of my score, as objective as possible, I'm actually going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. I think that this movie is really strong and depicts a very clear criticism and makes it very crystal clear on its very messaging. And though it does say on the thing a comedy, I don't think that the comedy is very. It's very, like observation comedy, I suppose is a way of putting it. There isn't a lot of joking in this movie. It's perhaps more so in the behaviors rather than someone trying to tell you a joke about something. So I do think that that does come across really strong as well. And that mix is an interesting combination. So that's my review of The Kill Room, and if you ended up enjoying it, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One, why you head over to my petition to help out smaller YouTubers. Second, there to my Patreon and PayPal, where you can help support me and my channel. And fourth, to my Discord server, you can join, collab, and chill, and all that cool stuff. And until next time, everybody, bye-bye!